Today's video is brought to you by Comics Elite. For the elite and exclusive variant covers, taking part in live Facebook auctions, poll lists, and signature opportunities, please check out comicselite.com. Or check out their Facebook page at Comics Elite. Don't be too slow. If you're a fan of this channel and you'd like to advertise in front of millions of eyes each month, contact us at worldclassbs@mail.com. Thebestmail.com. Now on to the video.
The following is a world-class bullshitters exclusive.
So as the early reviews for Avengers Endgame roll in, we're hearing nothing but positive hype. But as the days go by, we're getting nothing but negative vibes from Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. Yes, the movie's over. Yes, we've covered it 6 very successful times. But more info comes out that makes me think this film is the most protected in the history of Hollywood. If you're new to the channel, welcome and thanks for joining us here in the Fandom Menace. Donuts will be here tomorrow. You can check out older videos on the Rotten Tomato fiasco, the fandom ticket buying, and more. But today we're talking about another piece of news that's disappointing, yet not surprising. Bounding into Comics has the information. Report: Disney requires theaters to show Captain Marvel during Avengers Endgame Thursday's preview. Disney is requiring theaters to show both Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame on Thursday night, April 25th. Our sources tell us that Captain Marvel will be required to be shown on Thursday night. Theaters will not be able to drop the film from screens in order to create room for Avengers Endgame. The idea behind this movie is to hopefully bring more people to Captain Marvel and boost the box office sales to the Brie Larson-led movie, which is still far below Disney's domestic gross projections for the film. Disney had originally projected the film to earn $450 million at the domestic box office over the course of its run. The film currently has only grossed over $400 million. While the movie will more than likely provide a boost for Larson's Captain Marvel, it means theaters won't be able to fill a number of their theaters with eager Avengers Endgame moviegoers on Thursday. Less Endgame moviegoers more than likely means less concession sales and less overall business for theaters. The move by Disney to try to promote Captain Marvel right before Avengers Endgame is not unexpected. Back in March, we revealed that they would not be selling Dumbo tickets until after Captain Marvel's opening weekend, with the idea to maximize Captain Marvel's presence. They will be doing the same thing with Avengers Endgame, as Aladdin tickets will not go on sale until Monday after Avengers Endgame's opening weekend. The movie also makes sense from a Marvel Studios standpoint, as Marvel Studio boss Kevin Feige has stated Brie Larson's Captain Marvel will take the lead in the Marvel Cinematic Universe following Avengers Endgame. Feige revealed Captain Marvel's importance to the future of the MCU in Captain Marvel, the official movie special guide, which you can read the quote right here on screen. Larson actually spoke about Captain Marvel's place in the MCU, indicating she might take a central role in Avengers Endgame. She notes how the Avengers were defeated by Thanos in Avengers Infinity War, and they need to find a way to punch back. And if you want some smug comments, read the quote in front of you. What do you make of Disney's decision to have the theater keep Captain Marvel on screens during Avengers Endgame's Thursday night previews? Do you expect Captain Marvel to hit that $450 million domestic mark? I don't. Disney tried to pull this shit with Star Wars: The Last Jedi. They forced theaters to show that terrible film that killed Star Wars in the process. You see why we say what we say about Disney? I mean, them buying everything gives them more power to pull shit like this to inflate their numbers. And thankfully, it sometimes doesn't work. I mean, look at Dumbo. That really wasn't that big of a hit. So as of now, Captain Marvel opened as the 7th highest grossing film in the MCU, which is fantastic. It sits at around $400 million, as we said. There are 21 films, and as of now, Captain Marvel is number 7 of 21. Again, fantastic. You know who Captain Marvel is not more successful than? Wonder Woman. Now, of course, we're speaking domestic numbers here, which websites normally report in, but for Disney flicks, they report the worldwide grosses to make the headlines look bigger than they really are. As we always say on this channel, the numbers don't lie, but stupid websites do, and they're making it out as if Captain Marvel is actually more successful than The Dark Knight. This information comes from CBR.com. Captain Marvel has now grossed more than every Batman film. Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel has now grossed more than every Batman film at the worldwide box office. According to Box Office Mojo, Captain Marvel's earned over $1 billion at the worldwide box office after taking in $15.6 million this weekend, which means that it has finally surpassed Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, which was released in 2012 and went on to make $1.084 billion. These numbers don't account for inflation. Still, Captain Marvel is now the 9th highest grossing superhero film ever and the 25th highest grossing film of all time, behind Transformers: Age of Extinction at $1.1 billion. Captain Marvel's edge definitely comes from its international box office. While the movie has taken in a respectable $400 million domestically, The Dark Knight Rises still outpaces it at $448 million. They are both a far cry from The Dark Knight's $535 million in 2008. Captain Marvel is set to appear in Avengers Endgame, which is likely to break a ton of records, which releases on April 26th. Batman, for his part, will next appear in Matt Reeves' The Batman, which is scheduled to be released in 2021, though it won't feature Ben Affleck as the Caped Crusader. The only DC film for Captain Marvel to surpass is Aquaman, which made an incredible $1.147 billion at the box office. It's unclear at this time if the MCU will finally manage to surpass it, but it's not outside the realm of possibility, especially if Endgame gives Captain Marvel a boost. I wonder how Captain Marvel would get that boost. So if you're smart, and I know you are since you listen to this channel, a basic Google search can get you the information you need. So thankfully this article does let you know that The Dark Knight beats Captain Marvel by around $135 million domestically. And if we adjust that for inflation, because The Dark Knight is an 11-year-old film at this point, it's even higher. Let's look a little further into this Batman comparison, since the Access Media is trying to tie that piece of shit Captain Marvel to one of the best comic films of all time, The Dark Knight. First off, let's look at awards. Now, Captain Marvel's been out for only a month, so it's too early to make a fair comparison, but these shill sites play by Disney rules, and we here at World Class Bullshitters play by our own rules. So let's look at the Academy Awards for The Dark Knight. So as you can see here, The Dark Knight, which was released July 8th of 2008, has 8 nominations and 2 wins. One for Best Supporting Actor for Heath Ledger, and another for sound editing by Richard King. If Captain Marvel wins an Oscar, it'll be an award for the most obnoxious film to ever be released on International Women's Day. Now let's check out the chart below. Franchises. So we can see that Batman is number 1 in The Dark Knight, all kinds of Batman categories, but here's an interesting one. Showdown, Captain Marvel versus comparable openings. Let's click on that and see what it is. So over on Box Office Mojo, we have Captain Marvel versus comparable openings, and we see Captain Marvel's going up against The Hunger Games Catching Fire, The Dark Knight, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. And as you can see here, if we make the comparison, Captain Marvel comes in last place in terms of domestic grosses. And if we look at the worldwide summary, Captain Marvel outpaces everything, including Star Wars and The Dark Knight. Now, as I said earlier, The Dark Knight is a nearly 11-year-old film at this point, and that gross needs to be adjusted for inflation to level the playing field. When adjusted for inflation, The Dark Knight actually earned $1,195,711,162.12. That, of course, is in 2018 dollars. Captain Marvel still has a long way to go, and no matter what Disney tries to pull by forcing movie theaters into showing it during Avengers Endgame, it's just not going to make it the greatest film ever. Not at the box office, not in the hearts of fans, and definitely not in terms of performance. Thanks, Brie. While we're on the topic of inflation, if we look at the biggest domestic films of all time, adjusted for inflation, you won't find Captain Marvel in the top 10, or 20, or 50. You won't even find Captain Marvel in the top 100. Captain Marvel hit number 140 on the list, below every Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, 2 of the 3 Nolan Batman films, The Good Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, and one of my personal favorites, Beverly Hills Cop.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot, it's serious!
So let's just put these assholes in check with all the Captain Marvel is bigger than the Dark Knight talk. It's only a headline because the Nolan Batflicks are considered some of the best of all time, and you're trying to make Captain Marvel look like it's worthy to stand next to those films. It's not. You can tout that Captain Marvel is bigger than Batman, but not in America, bitch. No matter how you try to spin it. I'm so tired of this damn movie. It's like a bad rash that you just can't get rid of. Sounds like John Campea. Speaking of, John's kind of spurging out on Twitter about Endgame being mediocre, and from what I've heard, and Scott Mendelson isn't a fan because of the lack of diversity. So it looks like fans may be getting that rumored Avengers flick with less Captain Marvel, and I couldn't be happier. Disney playing dirty is nothing new. They're Disney. They've bought up most of pop culture, and from the looks of it, pop culture journalism. They're always going to try and pull this shit, and I'm not a fan. Captain Marvel isn't going to have a massive upsurge because of the dejected fans that won't get to see Endgame that are going to go see her film instead. Disney tricked the fans once, and that one dude 100 plus times. So all this protected status garbage for a film that wasn't even anything special just dirties the image of the once pristine MCU. As of now, Endgame is sitting pretty with a 9.5 on IGN, and most of you listening already bought your tickets. If you're waiting on a reliable source, we'll be back on Thursday night with episode 170 of the podcast, and we'll cover that film in great detail, spoiler-free in the beginning. And then on our Patreon exclusive, we're going to be covering Avengers Endgame ranks and the entire MCU for us. So this is it. By the time you hear this, Avengers Endgame is tonight. It's Thursday, and we're finally here. The end of the journey, 11 years, we finally made it to the end. And from the looks of it, I think the fans are going to get what they want. So as we said, tonight's podcast will cover the film in great detail, but spoiler-free in the beginning. And as we've said, over on our social media platform, we will not be posting spoilers or trying to ruin the film for anyone. What we've done is we've closed people off from joining our Facebook group, and we're keeping it spoiler-free until the film officially releases here in the United States tomorrow night. Then, as we said, we'll be putting up a special pinned post where all Avengers Endgame discussion will go, and we'll play it from there. It looks like it's going to be something that a lot of people enjoy. But maybe I'm being too optimistic. I mean, I've never been blamed for being an optimist, have I? But in all seriousness, folks, I am excited for this movie. I really cover the stuff about Captain Marvel because I don't want a good thing to come to an end because some chick with a hissy fit. That's what it is. She's so annoying, she's so not liked, the crowd doesn't like her, the people on the cast don't like her. Who likes Brie Larson? Marie Claire Magazine, Tessa Thompson, people who don't spend money on Marvel movies? Yeah, they like Brie Larson. Well, they'll tell you they like Brie Larson to promote whatever agenda they're going for, but hey, whatever. It's Avengers Day. Let's be thankful that we've all survived this long to see the damn movie. I am genuinely excited to see where we go next with the Avengers. I don't know who lives, I don't know who dies, but I'm looking forward to a Captain Marvel free existence. Let's hope that they got lucky with a one-off release of this character, and then in future installments, nobody shows up. Now remember, folks, Disney movies can and do fail from time to time. Look at Dumbo. And another thing people don't ever talk about is that at one point Disney bought the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Actually, they bought the entire Power Rangers from Saban. And then Saban bought it back because Disney just mishandled Power Rangers. And even though it was well past my prime of Power Ranger days by, over a decade at that point, they still made that mistake. And it just goes to show you not every decision they make is good. So we will see. We know that they've made some bad decisions with Marvel as of late in terms of her, and the Disney Plus streaming service doesn't seem to be as amazing as we once thought. They're censoring the film Dumbo, they're keeping off spicy things from their past, and as we said on last night's High Council, it's good that we are where we are as a society. We have grown so much, but to act like stuff didn't happen is really bad. In entertainment, we're supposed to look at that as a lens for where we were as a society. And, today I'm thankful that we're not as racist as they were in Dumbo or Songs of the South or anything like that. But that is for you to decide if you're going to subscribe to the Disney Plus streaming service. Initially, after Star Wars Celebration, I had softened my stance on it. Nope, back to where I was. Always this dumb shit with Disney. Nothing more, nothing less. So, folks, I'm going to go see Avengers, and like I said, I'll be back tonight with more information, a podcast involving all the Avengers Endgame discussion you can handle. Most of us, Dion and I, we've been here since May of 2008, and finally, it's over. It's like they say in the first Spider-Man film, commencement. The ending of one thing, the beginning of another. And hopefully, we're going to begin a new, interesting chapter in movie-going experiences, because from a personal standpoint, I can see where a lot of people would be burnt out on superhero films. They've been great for the most part, but everything comes to an end. Look at westerns, look at the sci-fi films, look at the slasher films. Genres come and go, and sadly, superheroes will be one. But thankfully, they'll come back from time to time, because superheroes, unlike those other genres, are part of the great American myth. And that's something we can't ever underestimate. So folks, thanks for watching. Go out into the world and be excellent to each other, because this is it. Tonight is the Endgame, and I hope it's everything we want it to be.